Welcome to GOON Squad's Decentralized News, where we cover this week's biggest stories affecting the crypto economy. I am your host, Piter, joined as always by Aussie. How are you, sir?
I am doing absolutely amazing.
Awesome. We're going to go into the main headlines all over crypto, Twitter, Polygon memes, which is our favorite topic, macro. We'll touch on macro and a speed run through the vast alt universe. You want to kick us off today?
Yeah, we can start off with a report from Bank of America, and their research group found that cryptocurrency funds like the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs have recorded more than $6 billion in inflows last week. This is the largest weekly inflows in history. This is the first cycle for these ETFs. They've only been around since January and really not that long. Less than a year on both of them, so this is not massive, but $6 billion is huge. If you look at the numbers last week, there was $1 billion in trading volume in the first hour on Tuesday, and then $1.5 billion on the first 30 minutes on Wednesday. So just huge amounts of trading volume all around.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a sign of the changing market sentiment and broader adoption of the whole asset class. This is the first cycle with the ETF products, and this in conjunction with obviously the price action, but also the Google search trend is starting to show signs of life. It was like, oh, retail wasn't back. So yeah, the vibe has changed for sure. Vibe changing for Gary Gensler maybe too. It's a bit speculation, but he issued a statement. I got people saying he was resigning. It's not a resignation letter, but he released a statement on Thursday following the Practicing Law Institute's annual Institute of Security Regulation. I had some past tense language. It's been a great honor to serve with the SEC was one of the lines. And the other one was, I've been proud to serve with my colleagues at the SEC who day in and day out work to protect blah, blah, blah. But it was just this past tense language. Nice to work with you.
I think it's not surprising. Firing Gary Gensler is on Trump's day one agenda.
And he has the authority to do it. So it's hard to imagine him not doing it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. There's a list of things that are on Trump's day one agenda, and firing Gary Gensler was one of them. I think he's just preparing for the inevitable. Maybe he won't resign because if he gets fired, there's probably a payout involved, but he's tying up the loose ends on the things that he was working on, I think.
This came the same day, and I believe it came a little later in the day, but don't quote me on that. But the same day, Fox Business Eleanor Tourette, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but Tourette, 18 states are suing the SEC for unconstitutional overreach and unfair persecution of the crypto industry under Gary Gensler, emphasizing concerns regarding the agency's enforcement actions and regulatory stance, and seeking a court order to prevent the SEC from filing future charges requiring digital asset platforms, facilitating secondary transactions. So something for the future too. But yeah, that was the same day that this lawsuit came out.
Yeah, so maybe he knows he's under the gun. I think that's just
feeling the heat.
Yeah, he's feeling the heat. He was feeling the heat beforehand. He
hasn't resigned. He is resigned.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. He is resigned that he will not be there on January 20th or January 21st. He knows he's done, and when there was a little bit of speculation that Harris might win, he got a little bit of wind in his sails, issued some Wells notices, and then very quickly cowered back into his corner. I'm not too surprised. It would be good to see what goes on with this lawsuit. I don't know if much comes out of it, especially with the change in administration, but it could be a good way and really shows a sign of how much both state level governments and the House of Representatives and even the Senate have changed in terms of their stance towards crypto. There's now, according to Stand With Crypto, an overall majority of House members that support crypto or pro-crypto, and of the new senators, it's a 50-50 split. Generally much stronger for crypto, both within the House and within the Senate.
Yeah, we'll see if they can get such big things done, like seeing the United States starting to buy Bitcoin. That would be phenomenal. But we are seeing some other evidence of real-time game theory playing out. There was a bunch of announcements. I mentioned the state level. There was a story out of Pennsylvania where they introduced legislation to have Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. But also there were businesses that were getting involved. So Thumbs Up, a Los Angeles-based social media marketing firm, announced the purchase of 1 million in Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. We also had publicly listed company Solidon Technology announcing a strategic Bitcoin allocation. They're a provider of advanced battery materials, and they're going to invest a portion of their excess cash as reserves in Bitcoin. The strategy is to Bitcoin holdings. The company will allocate 60% of any surplus cash generated from the operations to purchase Bitcoin. It will also redirect interest earned on cash held in money market accounts towards Bitcoin. And then there was one more. Publicly traded AI firm Genesis Group adopts Bitcoin as a primary treasury asset with a plan to acquire 120 million.
Initially.
Yeah, that's their initial. They are an AI firm. They surged 66% on the news. Their plan will involve committing 90% or more of the company's current and future reserves to be held in Bitcoin, starting with their target amount. They're a Singapore-based company founded in 2002, but listed on the New York Stock Exchange in 2022. So exciting news.
Oh, yeah. And this is as Odell Beckham Jr. had a little bit of a fun moment on X this week. He poked some fun at everyone who criticized him. He faced a lot of criticism in 2021 when he asked for his $750,000 salary to be done in Bitcoin. In a deal with, it was done in a deal with Cash App, but it was pretty funny, and he got mocked for it. And
yeah, he was flexing a little bit. This is game theory too, because this is pay me in Bitcoin, right? This is real world usage. I love to see it.
Oh yeah, so that was pretty interesting and good for Odell Beckham Jr. getting to flex that win. And in the last little bit of game theory and news, we've talked about strategic reserves both in the U.S. and with different companies. And Pennsylvania, the Polish presidential candidate Sławomir Mencen, I may have butchered his name, so I apologize to any of our Polish fans.
That's pretty good, I thought.
He's the chairman of the Polish New Hope Party, and he's considered a contender for this upcoming election. He wants to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve in Poland. He owns 33 Bitcoin himself, a little over that, and there's not a lot of legislative experience there. He's considered a far-right candidate, but he is a very popular politician both on TikTok and elsewhere. There was a draft bill that's been referenced by Wilczynski, which comes from the Satoshi Action Fund, which is a US-based lobbying group that aims to submit a similar bill in Pennsylvania. So I think it's the same group
they're basically using the same outline that was used in Pennsylvania. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Dennis Porter, who's leading the Satoshi Action Fund, is saying that they're already talking with 10 other states to introduce similar legislation. So looks like the writing's on the wall for strategic reserves, if not in Pennsylvania and Poland, well, elsewhere in the U.S. or the world, from the looks of it.
Yeah, exciting times. Now, that's great for Bitcoin, and we all want Bitcoin to go up because it's the king, and rising tides lifts all boats. And the boat we love to talk about, it's a little boat right now, but hoping to turn it into a battleship or something, like maybe a cruise ship. Polygon Memecoin community. Any updates going on there?
Oh, there's a lot going on in Polygon. I think we just need to acknowledge the intern went absolutely nuts on the Polygon X account this weekend with Jeff and Outback. There might be a sponsorship deal between Outback and Polygon now because of all the free advertising Outback got over the weekend. So interesting to see what happens there. But looking at some more of the really established meme coins, Polydoge and GOON were both on the Shill and Chill, hosted by the Solana coin Stabby Duck. It was co-hosted with Polydoge and GOON, so that was pretty fun. Good thing for both those tokens, getting that cross-chain exposure. Talking about cross-chain exposure, Pat just this morning announced that there was the first ever sold poll transaction using their trading bot. So you can now buy Pole meme coins with your Soul. Great way to take some of those profits, bring them into maybe a little bit less of a PvP ecosystem, and really be able to take advantage of the gains. Pat is up 40% today on that news, so good for Pat. Looking at Tryon is number 3 on the When Markets graduates list. They launched their NFT collection on Friday and are trading around their all-time high, so that's pretty bullish. As of just a few hours ago, they were about 735 of their NFTs were minted, with
Out of 1,069.
Yeah, out of 1,069 different NFTs. Not bad. And the max per wallet is going from 5 to 10 very shortly, probably tomorrow or by the time this video goes live. They're also having a million Tryon contest where if you create Tryon NFTs or memes on their website and then post 2 of them on their Twitter, you have a chance to win if they match one of your NFTs. So
I think if it matches any NFT in the collection, I'm not doing research on that, but it's just a contest. It's free to go make those things. You can submit 2 of them. You got, I guess, if it could be more than one winner, it looks like. But yeah, if you happen to create one that's the same as what out of these 1,000 that are minted on the reveal next week, you would get a chance to win a million Tryon, which is decent. That's not too shabby.
Yeah, that's 0.1% of supply, so pretty good for you if you can. Other than that, Aggregator has just finished their meme contest. Watch out for that. They will be announcing the winner soon. It's not yet posted. And then looking at When Markets, their most recent graduates were both Jeff and Spice. Jeff was graduated over the weekend, ran to about 300K market cap. It's now trading somewhere around 60 or 70 the last I checked.
I did not even notice that one.
It flew.
And I watched When pretty close, man. That thing happened fast, huh?
Yeah, it flew on because the intern over the weekend really took off. That being said, Spice graduated and has been holding very strong since they graduated. They were a slow burn, and Little Bow continues to be grinding. That being said, last week we mentioned Dead. Dead was a rug, unfortunately.
Just to remember, when it's on When Markets, it can rug. Yeah, how embarrassing.
It not necessarily rug, but the dev just bought a bunch of supply and dumped on everybody as it went up. That was unfortunate. We apologize for mentioning it. Looking at some top students on When Markets right now, we're continuing to see some upward movement. Polygon, which is basically Soul identifying as, or Polygon identifying as Solana. That's at 16K market cap. When the When token, which is not the official When Markets token, it is just a token called When, is at 12,000. It's actually been around on there for forever. It generated some attention over the weekend as people got excited about When Markets and the energy on Polygon. And then Taco, Jimmy, and Polygoat have all been slow burns on the platform that are continuing to see positive momentum. Jimmy can be a little bit annoying, but Polygoat and Taco have been distant. Just the When Markets TG. They're a little bit much. But
yeah, the Polygon one seems risky just because it really came out of nowhere, and it did dump a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. But the concept is interesting, just encouraging that cross-chain interest to something called Soul on Pole.
Yeah.
that general idea of just attracting attention to the Polygon meme coin market in general.
Yeah, and the last one I'll mention is Outback. Outback is another meme that came out of this weekend that is still on When Markets, so worth watching. It pumped a little bit, then dumped. It's sitting somewhere around 5,500 market cap, so might be worth checking out as they maybe get more attention and see if maybe there does something that comes out of that, the tweeting about Outback on Polygon.
Yeah, if it becomes the joke of the cycle, yeah, we'll see. Or maybe just for a couple of days. How funny can it be? Does it really have the legs? But as we shift into macro, it probably is a good time to mention, not financial advice, do your own research. These are all just of the highest risk, but fun, all the same. CPI, PPI, and the import index, the CPI and PPI seemed up, but to expectations, so not really affecting markets. The import price index seemed to come in hot. I don't know how big of a deal that is. Came in over expectations. It was expected to come down 0.1%, but went up 0.3%.
Yeah, that was a little bit interesting. Where inflation has been a bit touch and go. Last week we did have several Fed chairs speak, including Jerome Powell on Thursday, and his comments were bearish. A little bit of extra concern on inflation, and kind of saying that we're going to take it slow and taking our time. We're not in a rush. And so that is a bit concerning if you were expecting another cut in December.
Like nonstop cuts to the bottom.
Yeah. Right now, we're at a roughly 60-40 split on whether we get a quarter basis point cut just before the holidays. So we'll see if that continues.
Definitely not as strong as the last two meetings. And we're still a little ways out, so that could certainly change. And it's kind of trending.
It's trending towards no change. Yeah. On top of that, looking at data, this week there isn't a whole lot of data coming out. We've got some chairs speaking, but next week we have PCE, jobless claims, and GDP, as well as personal income, personal spending. So all coming out on the 27th. So expect the 27th to be a very volatile day. A lot of data that could impact the price and impact the expectations for a rate cut. So watch those. We'll see. They could have an impact on whether or not we shift more towards no change or more towards a quarter basis point cut. Nothing major here for the rest of the week. Just some consumer sentiment and some Fed chairs speaking.
All right, let's get into the speed run. We'll kick it off with 01 Labs will unveil its version 2 token. Important because it's AI related, and NVIDIA earnings will be released on November 20th, so that can affect AI coins in general. AVAX, 61 million worth of AVAX will be unlocked on November 18th, so another AVAX unlock coming. GOAT, which is a pretty big meme coin. It's an AI meme coin, I believe. The roadmap of Truth Terminal, the project behind the GOAT meme coin, will be released next week, so they got some news coming out. You want to close it out here, Ozzy?
Yeah. Hype, which is Hyperliquid's token, is rumored to go live this month. So Hyperliquid finally going to airdrop after many months. So some more liquidity injection could be worth sniping. When the market's green, airdrops tend to go up versus when the market's red. The Polygon ag layer will integrate Agora's Finance's AUSD as its native stablecoin, paying attention to Agora Finance. The other thing is there's been some tweets by Mark Boirel, who's the CEO, and within the next month, the ag layer is going to be able to connect both the Optimism cluster, so the OP stack cluster, and the Arbitrum Orbit strip cluster into the ag layer, so that the ag layer really does connect all chains and all types of L2s. So pretty interesting, the ag layer bridging that gap and stopping that isolation from which cluster are you in. Looking at the last piece, a very bullish piece of news for Polygon as well. BlackRock's Buildle, which is their kind of tokenized asset platform, is now multi-chain. It's live on Polygon, Arbitrum, Aptos, Ethereum, Avalanche, and Optimism. Really cross-chain now. Very bullish to see that as well.
Yeah, Aptos is probably the only thing I have zero exposure to there. You were hyping them up to me a little bit.
Yeah, I've got some good exposure.
Like to Sui and Solana type of.
Absolutely.
We're talking about those.
Absolutely. They're very much in that same vein for me. Very much targeting the Asian and finance markets, similar to Sui. So very interested to see that. If you like our content, please consider liking and subscribing. We're really here for educational and entertainment purposes only. Tell me about your favorite meme coins. Tell me which tokens on Polygon do I not have. We did not really mention GOON, but GOON's went on a run, pulled back, and then continuing to run now. Shout out to them. But yeah, give us some love in the comments. Let us know what we can do to improve the show on what you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
See you next week.